Welcome to Byzantine's Reviews. When I heard MechWarrior was being made, I couldn't help myself but take a trip down memory lane. I played all the MechWarriors and particularly had fond memories of MechWarrior 2 Mercenaries. With all the nostalgia aside, does the newest installment of MechWarrior live up to my childhood dreams? Or does this disappoint like so many other games that have gotten taken over? Let's take a look and see. As always, a quick disclaimer that there may be a few plot spoilers throughout the review. So, without further ado, let's get started. MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries takes place in 3015 during the final era of the Third Succession War. You, the only son of Nikolai Mason, have come to the age and are training to pilot a rebuilt Centurion mech. During your training with your father, a mysterious mercenary unit rains on your father and son time and starts demanding information from Nikolai. Your father does not give up the information and orders you to get back to the dropship and flee the planet. While all this is going on, your father holds him off until you escape and passes away during the battle. You escape with the remaining Cavaliers, which is what your mercenary group is called, a couple of mechs that were able to save, and work on a plan to escape the solar system. Your father had some good connections and Sebastian Spears is one of them. He helps you escape the system and gets you a bootleg mercenary registration number to mask your origins. Your main goal now is to rebuild your Cavaliers, find out who was responsible for the attack on your father, and avenge his death. Oh, and also find out what the secret your father was hiding, and gave up his life for. As young Mason completes missions over the months and years in this game, he builds the reputation of his lance and progressively is awarded stronger mechs and better experienced pilots. Eventually, you find out who attacked you and your father on that fateful day, the Black Inferno. After you go on the offensive and get into many skirmishes with the Black Inferno, you finally figure out who was responsible for your father's death. The one who gave the order and the one who pulled the trigger. You wipe out the trigger man, but the brains of the whole operation escapes. During the pursuit, you stumble upon an uncharted part of space which is riddled with ancient technology being exploited by Comstar, which are the main benefactors of the Black Inferno mercenary group. So, what does any good revenge-thirsty son do? Start taking down the bases in this new region, of course, and by doing so, get the attention of the brains of the operation you were chasing to begin with. After a long-fought battle, you end up taking out the leader. Right after the battle, your chief engineer finds out your mech was sending out a signal to a secret mech bay, which makes me wonder, why didn't they notice this before? But anyways, upon further investigation, you find out your father's secret is sitting there. I won't get into any more spoilers at this point, but I think you can put two and two together on what they find. From my perspective, this seems like a pretty generic story and is nothing spectacular. To be honest, it was hard to play through the campaign as I would rather spend time doing instant action. Your experience may differ. MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries is a standard fair mech game. If you have played any of the other MechWarriors over the years, you're going to feel right at home with this game. The controls are tight and the aiming and firing off PPCs, for example, are very satisfying as they were in previous games. The walking and talking mechanics in the mech bays before a mission was a nice touch, but definitely nothing to write home about. It took a bit of time to understand how to get missions set up, but once you figure out how to navigate space within the game, the options are endless. You get to pick which missions you want to take on based on what area of space you're in, and it can go to different areas if you want to take on new missions from another faction. Getting a chance to load out your mechs in the bays is always fun. You get to go in and customize your machine however you see fit to an extent. In the old games, you were able to install any hardpoint to anywhere in your mech, something this game does not let you do. I think a lot of it has to do with the realism. For example, if you put a laser on a leg, but there's no physical laser cannon there, then where would the laser shoot out of, right? In this game, you're given certain areas you can install certain types of hardpoints based on your mech. I think this kind of limits you to which mechs you're going to use. Like I keep referring to, in the old games, I picked up mechs based on two things, the tonnage and the way it looks. In this game, it had to be tonnage and the loadouts because you're restricted to what you can and cannot use on a specific mech. One main point of contention in this game I constantly ran into was the heat management system. I don't think I ever spent so much time running into my mech shutting down over and over again due to overheating. Regardless the amount of heat sinks I have installed on the mech, this thing would keep shutting down. I think this is one area the developers really need to work on. Overall, the firing mechanics feel satisfying and landing a shot on an enemy has never felt better. Why they put all the restrictions on close range missiles is beyond me. I don't think it should matter how close you are to an enemy when you're firing a long-range missile. If I get hit with splash damage, then it should be on me and I should pay the price for making that mistake. Instead, we get this message that you're too close, which really didn't jive with me. I spent the majority of my time in instant action, and the nice thing here is you can pick any mech and go on missions. You can choose from capture a target to defend a base, to destroy a base, an assassination mission, and the list does go on. I would recommend you do the campaign before you go into instant action, as once you go to the latter, you won't want to play the story. Here is where I want to spend some time discussing the design decisions made in this game, because I don't understand what they were thinking. Let's start with the never-ending tank spawns. The one thing that I, along with many other fans, enjoyed was clearing out a map and then walking to your last nav point for extraction. It brought a sense of accomplishment and you got to listen to some cool music while cruising to the end of the mission. Who thought it was a good idea to keep spawning these stupid tanks over and over again is beyond me, not to mention some of them being equipped with PPCs and autocannons that hit harder than some of the light mechs in this game. In this game, when you finish your objectives and head back, you're constantly getting shot at by one of these said tanks, and every encounter costs money in this game in terms of repairs. I think it was a lazy attempt at keeping the action going, but that's just my opinion. I like how they designed the worlds in this game, and some of the planets looked really cool, especially the volcano worlds. But why didn't they give us more weather effects? I mean, acid rain, lava snow, just regular snow, or anything would have been better than some of the regular rain we get on some of the planets and the fog that we get in others. I feel like after a few missions, everything starts to look the same to me. Another area that really stood out to me was the mech bays that you could run in and around. It was a cool concept and was neat when I first experienced it, but I am not sure what the point of it was. The area is empty, and you have to run to the bridge to start every single mission so you can progress the story. I don't feel like this aspect of the game was complete and was more of a gimmick more than anything else. I would rather us use the old style of just picking consoles and selecting everything from the terminals, or at least something a bit more creative. During my time with this game, I did run into a few bugs from multiplayer game crashes to sometimes having my mouse and my cockpit controls not jiving correctly, but those problems were far and few between. The bigger gripe I had with this game was the load times. If you have a spinning mechanical hard drive, good luck. It took forever to load up some of these missions. I was playing multiplayer with a friend and it took 7 minutes to load a mission. In my opinion, that is unacceptable. The mechs themselves in the games were interesting too, but to be honest, the mechs did feel a bit frumpy to me. Let me explain. The mechs felt light and fragile. In the third person view, they hopped along like they were weightless. I don't know how I would design them, but I wish it felt a little bit more heavy. I wish the mechs had a bit of girth to them. Even the sounds the mechs made were kind of weird. When you look at some of the lightest mechs there and you put them on full speed, it sounds like a race car engine a bit. It was really odd to me. I wish they had spent a little bit more time on sign design in this area. The shooting of the weapons and everything else though, they sounded fine. The music in this game was okay as well, but in all honesty, it was nothing award-winning, and after loading up the game a few times due to some of the bugs I ran into, the intro theme got really annoying to me as well. MechWarrior 5 Mercenaries was a nice throwback to what I grew up with, and I think the developers knew that. The problem is I think they rushed the game and wanted to make a quick buck, since I feel parts of this game are not finished and some of the design decisions are questionable in my opinion. I do feel like there is a lot of potential, and this game has a very active modding community. Some of the mods do fix some of the complaints I have from what I've researched, but I have not personally tried them yet. I think I will try to mod the game and see if this makes the experience better for me, and if it does, then I might revisit the game with a short follow-up review. Tell me in the comments below if that is something that you'd be interested in seeing. So, would I recommend this game? It really depends. If you're a diehard MechWarrior fan and find this game on sale, then I would say for $10, why not? But would I pay full pop for something like this? I don't think so. Like I mentioned before, this was a bit of a chore of a game to play, and I will not feel bad when I put this away on my proverbial shelf to collect dust. Please tell me what you think in the comments below. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this review, subscribe and hit the notification button if you would like to keep up with the reviews released on this channel. The link is in the description below. And until next time, keep on gaming.